when the Rambam brings his raya for the coming of Mashiach from the Nevuah of Bilam, in the beginning of Perek Yud Aleph of Hilchos Melachim, the Rambam is very ma'arich. He goes at great length to explain which parts of the Nevuah of Bilam are referring to David HaMelech and which parts of the Nevuah of Bilam are referring to Melech HaMashiach. And the question is asked, we know that the Rambam writes that he wrote his Mishnah Torah as a sefer of halachas. He's not coming to darshan psukim and tell us what each pasuk means. He's coming to tell us the halachas and what we need to do. And therefore, why does he go so at great length to discuss the meanings of the psukim, what's referring to David HaMelech and which ones are referring to Melech HaMashiach? L'chayra, he has to just tell us that Bilam gave a nevuah about Mashiach, and therefore we have to believe in the coming of Mashiach. And the answer is given that from here we see that what Mashiach is supposed to accomplish is directly connected to David HaMelech. In other words, if we want to know what we have to believe Mashiach is supposed to do, we have to believe in the coming of Mashiach. And then the Rambam also breaks it down into details. In what does the belief in the coming of Mashiach have to be? And in order for us to know the details of what Mashiach needs to accomplish, we must have the meanings of the pasuk in regard to David HaMelech also, in order to understand what will be the main accomplishments and the main job, so to speak, of Melech HaMashiach. And if we look in the beginning of Perek Yud Aleph, the Rambam says, what does Mashiach have to do? What is his job? He has to bring back the kingship, the reign of David HaMelech, of Malchus Beis David. He's going to build the Beis HaMikdash, and he will gather all the Yidden in from all the places in the world where they were spread out, and he will ultimately bring back all the mitzvahs to the way they were in the past. From a time when we had shleimus of Torah and mitzvahs, Melech HaMashiach will bring back that shleimus of Torah and mitzvahs. And according to this, we can understand why the Rambam is so ma'arich, and he explains the psukim not only in regard to Mashiach, but also in regard to David HaMelech. If we think about it, David HaMelech was the one who completed the kibush haaretz. He completed conquering Eretz Yisrael from the Goyim. David HaMelech was a king, and he conquered the whole Eretz Yisrael, and he began ultimately the plans, and he began the building for the building of the Beis HaMikdash. And therefore, when we compare and we look at what Mashiach has to accomplish, we see that Mashiach, who comes from David HaMelech, he has to do the exact same things. Just like David HaMelech, he's going to bring a king, and he's going to bring back the Malchus Beis David. And he's supposed to build the Beis HaMikdash, just like David HaMelech started doing. And he has to bring back the Torah and mitzvahs, just like in David HaMelech's times, when all the Yidden were in Eretz Yisrael, and they completed conquering Eretz Yisrael, and they had started building the Beis HaMikdash in order to have shleimus and Torah and mitzvahs. This is what Mashiach is going to accomplish. He's going to bring all the Yidden back, and therefore, being that we'll have a Beis HaMikdash, we'll be able to completely fulfill all the mitzvahs. So we see that it's important that the Rambam is ma'arich about speaking about David HaMelech, because that helps us understand what Melech HaMashiach has to accomplish in order to be similar to what his ancestor David HaMelech accomplished. But then there are those who ask that when we think of Mashiach, we think of him as the Redeemer, so to speak. And we know it says, Hu goyel rishen, Hu goyel achrein, in Medrash Rabbah of Shmois, Parsha Beis. So, seemingly, we should compare Mashiach to Moshe Rabbeinu, who they are both redeemers. But we see over here from the Rambam that if we want to categorize what does Melech HaMashiach have to accomplish, we do not compare him to Moshe Rabbeinu, rather we compare him to David HaMelech instead. And the reason is how the Rambam himself explains the halacha. He says, Al yal al daitcha. Do not think that Mashiach has to make big miracles, that's what the coming of Mashiach is for, to make big wonders and big miracles. And make big chidush and make big novelties in the world. That's not the reason why Melech Mashiach has to come. Why does he have to come? He has to come to bring the world, to do the accomplishments that will bring the world to a state where we could do shleimus and Torah and mitzvahs. All the other redeeming stuff, they may also happen, they may also exist at a certain point. But what's the main reason, according to halacha, which the Rambam is halacha sefer? What's the main reason and the main accomplishment, what Mashiach has to accomplish, is to bring the world back to a place, through having the Beis HaMikdash, through having the kingdom of Malchus Beis David, and so on, and having all the Yidden there, in order that we can have Shleimus HaTorah again. That is what Mashiach has to accomplish, and that is the main gather of Mashiach. Everything else, the salvation and the redemption and redeeming, all those things are very important, but those are not the main halachic way how to categorize what Mashiach has to accomplish. And therefore, the Rambam was very medayik in how he describes the Amunah and the proof that he brings. Both the description of what Mashiach has to accomplish, and that's what Amunah we have to have in what Mashiach has to accomplish, and the proof that he brings are exactly the same thing. That it comes from David HaMelech, and therefore he has to be a king, and he has to be a king from Malchus Beis David, who will bring all the Yidden back to Yerushalayim, to Eretz Yisrael, and build the Beis HaMikdash, and then we will have Shleimus and Torah and Mitzvahs again.